Jeff Jarvis, you've said that you think we're going through a shift as profound as Guttenberg. What do you mean by that?
I just read an amazing piece from a bunch of Danish academics about what they called the Guttenberg parenthesis. And they said that from 1500 till 2000, our society and our culture were ruled by text. Before that time, we were ruled by scribes and oral traditions and things like that. And they argue that now we're passing from text into what follows next. I know this sends shivers up your spine, Andrew. But I think that there's a lot
Do I
to
look
be
as
seen.
if I'm shivering?
You never do, but that's just your British way. I think that we are not going to see text die by any means, but I think we're moving to a time when we cognate the world differently because we go through information differently. And that's what I celebrate and what you tend to fear, and the balance together is probably right to have together. That we will look at things more interactively, more in a live sense, more in a sense of process versus product, less linearly, and the opportunities change. Sam Lessin, the founder of Dropio, had a great presentation at the New York Tech Meetup this month where he was answering Clay Shirky's cognitive surplus. And he was arguing privacy and publicness in economic terms. And I loved the way he put it, is that privacy used to be very cheap and publicity, was extremely expensive. And now it's reversed. Privacy is expensive. It takes a lot of effort to keep private and do all this effort on Facebook. Whereas publicness, we can all be public. Pew says 30% of us are creating content all the time. And that changes the economics of where we go. So if your job is to be an editor, publisher, agent, and so on, and your whole life was in controlling access to the public, well, that is meaningless now. It's worthless now. In fact, it's very expensive for you to have that now. So value, I think, goes from the creator to the curator. Companies get disrupted, new opportunities come along.
And what are the impact in social terms, getting away from media? How will this change the nature of 21st century society?
Well, I'm an optimist to a fault, and I think it's for the good. I think that the more public we are, the more we can trust each other, the more we can understand other people, the more we can maintain relationships with people. We've all seen the case of having looked up an old girlfriend from years back. Well, young people today don't need to do that. They'll stay connected to people, and I think that's going to make them act better. And I believe in the theory of mutually assured humiliation, that you'll have your embarrassing moments and I'll have mine. And so rather than having a society that tries to shame people, that tries to keep gay people in the closet, the gay people now come out of the closet in public and say, yeah, what about it? And I think that's a good society and a better society.
So publicness improves us.
I think so. It's untold. We could see how this goes. When books came out in 1500, authors were scared of having their thoughts out there permanently for the public. And there were efforts to try to get only licensed quality books made. Sound familiar? So this world could go differently too. That's my fear about this privacy mania we have, is if we shut down too many rules and too many structures based on old practices, we may not know what publicness can bring us.
If publicness is the default, are you concerned that privacy will become the refuge of an elite who can afford it?
Good question. I think that Fred Wilson talked about the idea of premium privacy and businesses being there. I suggested he was going to invest in them, and he said in comments that no, he wouldn't. So I think that's a possibility. But no, I think what really happens is that you look at the fact that there are minority groups and disenfranchised groups that can now reach the world and can now organize in new ways, to quote Clay Shirky twice, organize without organizations. And that breaks down power structures and empowers new people, I believe, if we use it that way. And that's what the opportunity is. Can everything be misused? Can everything go awry? Sure. But I think that if all we do is look for the trouble ahead, we won't see the opportunities.
One element of trouble, Jeff, to finish. I've got to get something negative out of you.
Oh, you're asking me for an element of trouble?
Yes. Apart from your penis.
Yeah, that's enough, isn't it? I think that the problem we're going to have, I just talked to Dana Boyd, who's brilliant and amazing, and the issue that she and Cory Doctorow bring up is a question of informed consent. That the problem becomes that people don't necessarily go to the trouble to think what they're doing. We don't think that through. And, you know, the constant guess of a risk there is that someday you'll be embarrassed to have a drunk picture up online. I don't think it's it. But I don't think we necessarily can think through the consequences now. So there will, without doubt, be unintended consequences that I can't predict and that I'll feel sorry for. We'll see what they are.